I'm Bernadette Wagner, and I'm pleased to welcome you to Healing, Hope, and Health. Our first guest today is Eric Clemmis, Chief Executive Officer of Hospice of Washington County. Eric, who brought 13 years of hospice experience with him, has been with Hospice of Washington County now for 2.5 years. With 2 undergraduate degrees and an MBA, he is best known for 2 things. First, his intense focus on providing the very best care for hospice patients, and 2, his desire to engage stakeholders and give back to the community. Eric joins us today to share his personal philosophy and his vision for Hospice Washington County.
Well, thanks for having me, Bernadette.
Thank you. So glad you're here. So, Eric, you were, prior to coming to Washington County, you were the executive director of Iowa Hospice, and it was in a town very similar to Hagerstown and Hospice of Washington County. What did you learn there that you've brought to this community?
Well, first and foremost, Bernadette, the importance of ensuring that we provide excellent care while being compassionately delivered, and the need to serve our communities and maximize outreach opportunities.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for that. Can you tell us about the scope and the quality of the services provided at Hospice of Washington County?
Well, the quality of services provided in Washington County from our staff is excellent in nature, served by caring, compassionate individuals. Our focus is not just on our patient and their needs, but taking care of the needs of the family as well.
And our staff is highly trained, and can you talk a little bit about that?
Many of our staff are board certified or certified in hospice and palliative care.
Okay, and that's an additional training above and beyond their traditional degrees.
That is correct.
Yeah. Can you tell our viewers some of the initiatives that you've implemented that highlight the outreach?
Well, a couple things come to mind. Our staff participates monthly in community marketing blitzes in order to raise awareness as far as hospice and what hospice offers. Secondly, we provide support and community events, not only to raise awareness as far as what hospice can provide, but provide assurances to the community that we're able to serve them in their most important time of need.
That's great. And I know that I had the chance to participate in one of the blitzes, and it was this really great experience because it was also a time to spend a chance to spend some time with other colleagues and to learn a little bit about their role in hospice, and a chance to really build morale. So I thought that was a great idea. I was wondering if you can tell us about the new community life centers that opened under your leadership.
Well, with the support of board of directors, we established over the past year 3 community life centers. The first one was in Hancock. The second one was in downtown Hagerstown, and most recently in Boonesboro. In addition to that, we've opened up a clinical satellite office in Boonesboro to give our staff more expedient access to our patients that live in those surrounding areas.
And I think you said before that the purpose of the life centers was to really be where the patients need us most, where the families need us most. If they have a need, they don't have to come to us if we're coming to them to deliver bereavement services. And do you care to add anything else?
Right, our staff is well trained in counseling and bereavement services. We offer individual, couples, as well as family counseling. We offer bereavement workshops in order to support the community as well.
Okay, that sounds great. And I know that one of the things that's most exciting about the life centers is this idea that we're engaging others in our life centers. So we're offering our nonprofit partners an opportunity to use our space, and also inviting members of the community who have passions and skills to share their talents. What's your thinking behind that? Why is that so important to you?
Well, that's a good question. Philosophically speaking, that's part of our mission. So we make that investment in our community. Especially to the underserved. We also encourage other not-for-profits to do the same. And that strengthens the community, and we provide the venue and access to not-for-profits to share their programs, and we offer to share our space, and it makes the communities a better place.
So these nonprofits can come in and use the Life Center space free of charge at no cost, as long as they're bringing programs that support the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a remarkable gift that hospice is giving to our community. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about some of the things that you do in the community that that you personally give back?
I'm a native Washingtonian. I grew up in the 1980s in District of Columbia, and during that time, it was several underserved areas. So I have a great appreciation for the underserved areas. So part of me giving back personally is I am volunteering on the board of the Robert W. Johnson Community Life Center, and I serve as their treasurer.
Oh, that's terrific, and I know that they really appreciate it. One other thing I wanted to be sure to give you a chance to talk about is the way that Hospice of Washington County reaches out and supports our veterans.
Okay. Well, we honor a veterans program through the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. We obviously offer honor guard services to our veterans that have passed on. Mm-hmm. We have self-help workshops in our Hancock Life Center office where the volunteers in Hancock teach our veterans to.
Yeah, lead a support group there, right?
A support group, absolutely.
Yeah. And I understand that our Director of Volunteer Services, Lindsay Anderson, is going to be doing some training to connect veterans, volunteer veterans with veterans who are receiving hospice care. Is there anything else you care to add about that?
Well, it's just, part of that initiative is just to enhance just the veterans services in that, especially in that part of the county.
Right.
Especially given the degree it's underserved.
Yeah, and I think the idea behind that is that, as Bob Driscoll, who leads the program out in Hancock, says, nobody understands a vet like another vet. So this idea that we're connecting vets with vets is really a way to support them even better, and their families as well.
That is correct. And being a fellow veteran myself, I appreciate the dynamics.
Yeah. That's great.
As
well, Eric, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you.
I'm not sure how he finds time to do it all, but I'm glad that he does, and I bet there's a lot of other people that are glad as well. Thank you for your innovative leadership at Hospice of Washington County and for your service to our community at large. We'll be right back after these messages.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care. Close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
This is our home. It's where we've all decided to put down roots and raise families. Not because we had to, because we wanted to. And as a business owner, you pour every ounce of energy into doing what's right for you in this community, and you won't and you don't stop until you get what you want, and neither do we. We're Antietam Cable Productions, and it's time to stand up and be seen and heard. You have a voice, and we'll help you tell your story. Antietam Cable Productions, putting the beat into the heart of your business.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
Hi, I am Dr. Olenzak at the Pain and Spine Institute. I specialize in the most advanced procedures and technology available in pain management. At your visits and procedures, you will always see me for continuity of care. I would like to thank all of my patients for allowing me to provide you with the specialized care that you need. To give you this level of care requires a team. This is your team at the Pain and Spine Institute. To become a patient, call 301-739-7900 or go to painfree-md.com.
Welcome back. It's my pleasure now to welcome Lindsay Anderson, the Director of Volunteer Services for Hospice of Washington County. She joins us today to tell us about and hopefully recruit volunteers for a newly offered program called We Honor Veterans. This program, which is a special initiative of the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, seeks to recruit veterans to serve as volunteers to hospice patients who are also veterans. Welcome, Lindsay. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you made it in with the snow.
Yeah.
So Hospice of Washington County has many different volunteer programs, but this is a new initiative, a new effort. So can you tell us a little bit about the training that the volunteers will participate in and a little bit about the program?
Well, as you said, the We Honor Veterans program is something that the National Hospice and Palliative Organization created in partnership with the Veterans Administration.
Okay.
And it's a large program. They do a lot of different things, and one of the pieces of that program is the Vet-to-Vet volunteer program. And basically, it's pairing recruited veteran volunteers with individuals under our hospice program that we've identified to be veterans. They would have to go through very similar training that all of our companion volunteers go through, and our companion volunteers are all of the volunteers that have some type of contact with patients and families. The process that they would have to go through would be to come in, actually first they would need to fill out an application, then they would need to come into the office to meet with me for an interview, and then there's a training program that they would have to go through, and our next one's coming up in April.
What are the dates of that training session?
The dates are the 20th, the 23rd, and the 29th, and they do have to go to all three of those, and it's from 5 to 9 p.m.
Okay.
We do have an alternate training program that you do from home, a self-study training, if that wouldn't work for their schedule.
So it wouldn't preclude a veteran who's interested in being a companion volunteer?
Absolutely. We have the trainings quarterly. So we'll have one again in July and then another one in the fall. But if they, if the April one didn't work for them and they didn't feel like waiting until July or the fall, they could do the self-study training.
Okay. And is the training that they would take, that's the companion volunteer training? Is there something above and beyond that for the veterans?
Yes. They would go through the companion volunteer training because they also need to learn hospice philosophy, more about death and dying, but then there would be an extra piece on the end of it to talk about how to best interact and provide support to patients who are veterans.
And Lindsay, you said this is one of the components. What are some of the other components of the We Honor Veterans program?
Well, basically what the We Honor Veterans program tries to do is to offer to hospices resources to help the hospices better serve veteran patients. So it can teaching them to find resources in the community to better support veteran patients. And
hospice also offers an honor guard service for veterans?
Yeah, as far as the Vet-to-Vet volunteer program, the other components of that are we are hoping to do honor salutes. We've done a few of them, and basically what that is giving a certificate to the veteran patient in recognition of their service along with a pin.
That's neat.
And then the other component of the program are veteran roundtable groups that we're hoping to do. And that would be in various assisted living facilities in the community. And it's offered to both the residents who live in the assisted living facilities, as well as some of them we're opening to the public. And during those groups, it's a chance for them to share among themselves. It's also an opportunity to invite speakers in to provide information on resources in the community for veterans.
So if somebody wanted to support veterans in particular, but they themselves are not veterans, they would not be eligible for this training program?
Actually, we would allow people who are not veterans to train to be a part of this program as well.
Okay. And do you also support the families of veterans?
Yes, just as with any of our services in hospice, we are very much about providing care to not only the patient but also the family. So it's about providing support to everybody.
Yeah, and as Bob Driscoll, our leader, a volunteer leader who leads a group out in Hancock, says, nobody understands a vet like another vet. So I think that this is really a wonderful program that you're starting here in Hospice of Washington County.
Yeah, our veteran volunteers have a unique ability to be able to relate and connect to the veteran patients in a way that maybe some of the other team members who are not veterans might not be able to do.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to Lindsay for joining us, and grateful to all our veterans who have selflessly served our country. Hospice of Washington County is proud to offer the We Honor Veterans program. If you're a vet and you want to support another veteran, give Lindsay a call at 301-787-5800. 791-6360 or check out our website at www.hospiceofwashingtoncounty.org. We'll be right back after these short commercial breaks.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
From the smallest item of jewelry to the largest ceramic elephant, every 10,000 Villages handcrafted product makes a remarkable journey.
All over the world, our products travel similar paths, over thousands of miles and years of artistic tradition. Our handcrafted gifts represent work that builds villages and sustains souls. They are the dream of a better life made real. Every product is a miracle.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Health. The staff at Hospice of Washington County works as a team, each doing their part to provide the highest quality of care for those nearing the end of life. Today's guest, Billie Jo Reisinger, will shed light on the important role played by certified nursing assistants. I think of the CNAs as the utility players of the hospice team, tasked with providing the day-to-day personal care for patients, but willing to take on whatever needs to be done. Billie Jo Reisinger is a certified nursing assistant on the Purple Team who's been with Hospice of Washington County since 2011. Her supervisor and team leader describe her as smart, compassionate, articulate, and a real go-getter. Billie Jo, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you could make it here today.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what it means to be a certified nursing assistant, what your role is, what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, as a certified nursing assistant, we go into people's homes and we help them with their day-to-day activities. As far as it could be bathing or whatever they need done that day. It could be fixing a meal or helping them with light housekeeping. You know, the intimate things that we get to do are personal care and different nail care.
So you do you wash hair?
A lot of times,
style
yes.
hair and that
Yes.
kind of stuff. Well, that's really very intimate care. I'm sure you get to know your patients very closely.
We do. We work very one-on-one with people, and we get to see things and get to develop a relationship with people that not, everyone in the staff gets to do.
And how do you relate with the families of the patients that you care for?
We get to get very close with the families as well, because we're coming in a setting to take care of their, parents a lot of times, or spouses, and we get to know them as well. So we're doing a role a lot of times that family members can't do or don't feel comfortable doing for their loved one.
Or maybe that the patient does not want a family member to do.
Correct.
Right. Oh, that's neat. Well, they're lucky to have you. So when you do when you go to visit patients, do you go to homes or do you go to a nursing facility? Where do you take care of your patients?
We take care of patients in the home and at nursing facilities or assisted livings.
Do you go into the hospitals well too?
Right now we are not going into the hospital, but we may eventually.
Okay. And so I know you that as a care team provider, you work with social workers and CNAs, other nurses and doctors, and how does that work? How do you communicate as a team what needs to be done? And
We have a very strong communication as far as the whole hospice team. We communicate via text message, email. If we notice a change in a patient's status or something, we see that something's different with them, we can call each other. So we definitely have good communication all the way around with each other.
And do you have to document that in computer programming, or?
We do. We document what we see, what we visually see when we go in. If we notice a patient maybe saying they feel different that day, or we notice a change in them, how they're acting, we can document that in the computer, and then the other staff is able to see that, whether it be the social workers or the nurses or.
Okay. And I think there's, is it 17 or 18 CNAs at Hospice of Washington County?
Correct. I think there's 17.
Okay. And what is the quality that enables people to be able to be in this role? What are the qualities that your coworkers have that enable them to be successful in caring for others?
I think you just have to be very, very personable and very compassionate. You have to go in and see, very empathetic, you have to go in and see someone else at, their hardest time in their life and be able to come in and not be judgmental and just be understanding of their needs and just be very empathetic. I mean,
and accepting of the family dynamics and what's going on.
That's correct, because families have a lot of different dynamics. They may be upset, they may be dealing with things differently, and every person deals with them, that situation differently.
And tell me a little bit about your training, what the training is that CNAs go through, and if you have to be recertified on a yearly basis. What's that look like for you all?
Okay, when you first get your nursing assistant license, you go for a training. It could be up to 6 months, and then you get your certification. And then through hospice, they also offer, you can get hospice palliative care certified, which is not mandatory, but they do offer that. So, and I have done that since I've been at hospice. And that's just certifying you in hospice and palliative care.
Okay, and once you have that certification, do you have that for life, or?
No, you renew that every 4 years. You go back and retest, and you take that every 4 years.
So there's like an ongoing professional development that you have to make sure that you're providing the best care for your patients.
Yes.
Well, it's really remarkable, the important work that you all do. I know that it makes a huge difference not only to our patients and their families, but to the organization. So thank you and to all the other CNAs too. I'd like to thank Billie Jo for helping us understand the compassionate care she and the other CNAs provide on a daily basis. Caring for the terminally ill is, of course, their work, but it's also their calling. It's who they are as people. The CNAs of Hospice of Washington County, individually and collectively, bring to mind something Mother Teresa said of herself and her companions who cared for the terminally ill. She said, quote, "The miracle is not that we do this work, but that we are happy to do it," end of quote. And Hospice of Washington County is happy to recognize our CNAs for the work they do so well. We'll be back right after these messages.
Arbors Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
This is our home. It's where we've all decided to put down roots and raise families, not because we had to, because we wanted to. And as a business owner, you pour every ounce of energy into doing what's right for you in this community, and you won't and you don't stop until you get what you want, and neither do we. We're Antietam Cable Productions, and it's time to stand up and be seen and heard. You have a voice, and we'll help you tell your story. Antietam Cable Productions, putting the beat into the heart of your business.
I'm the hometown favorite.
I'll outsmart you.
I will beat you.
I'll be surrounded by fans cheering me on.
There's no place like home for fighting cancer.
My turf.
My time.
My team.
Expert care, close to home. The John R. Marsh Cancer Center at Meritus Health.
People don't realize it takes a lot to care for a family member in your home. John's dad was very headstrong, so I think that was a lot for him to get over and try to come to terms with that he had terminal illness. I would recommend everybody to get hospice involved at the get-go. When you first learn about it, get it set up. It's going to make it, I mean, it's terrible what you're going through already, but it's going to make it easier for you in the long run because we couldn't have done it without them.
Call Hospice today. Hospice of Washington County, when time matters most.
Welcome back to Healing, Hope, and Help. Neil Glessner joins us today for our Lovingly Remembered segment to share his memories of and pay tribute to his remarkable mother, Doris Doey Glessner. In life, through her words and actions, Doey taught her son to find his purpose and to make a difference in the lives of others. In her death, Neil found that purpose. After his mother spent a brief time in a nursing home, Neil wished that everyone, not just those who could afford it, could die with dignity surrounded by family in a peaceful environment. To make that wish a reality, in his mother's honor, Neil committed to chair a capital campaign to build the Hospice House in Washington County. All of Washington County is grateful to Neil for his leadership, It's my pleasure now to introduce Neil Glessner to talk about his mother, Doey, the inspiration behind Doey's House. Welcome, Neil.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks for being here today. So can you tell us a little bit about what your mom was like? What was she shy? Was she outgoing?
I would definitely say she was outgoing. She had a lot of friends, and she really enjoyed surrounding herself with family and friends all the time.
She was a social butterfly.
Very much so.
Okay, great. What sorts of things did she like to do? What were her hobbies?
She certainly enjoyed spending time with her grandchildren all the time. She loved taking them to the city market and doing different events with them. She loved miniature doll houses. She spent a lot of time traveling to different doll shows, New York, Philadelphia, down in the South and things, and she collected little pieces and had this very elaborate dollhouse display. That was another great hobby of hers. And just traveling a lot. Nothing elaborate, usually just hopping in a car and going. She was pretty spontaneous.
Did she go with her friends or her family, or
Sure.
was she a shopper? What?
Sure, if her friends were spontaneous, they could hang. It's like she didn't always plan far ahead. She was just always good to go. And if she had friends that were good to go, they'd keep up with her. But if they couldn't keep up with her, she'd travel and visit friends.
So she set the pace, right?
Quite often, yes.
That's great.
I had a hard time keeping up with her.
Neil, I've heard you say that your mother had a gift for making other people feel special. What do you mean by that?
Well, she just was always very considerate of, when it was your birthday and things like that. I mean, one of the things that sort of stood out to me is she had a room just filled with stuff, and like little items, she would go shopping and she would say, oh, I'm going to buy this. I might need to give it to somebody as a gift someday. So when she learned it was somebody's birthday or somebody was going through a tough time or whatever, she could go back to her room and she had, she had her gift wrap and her ribbons and her bags and all that, and she could whip something up with a nice card, pretty quickly. She always enjoyed making people feel special.
A real people's person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. I know from talking with you and what you said at the Gift of Hospice that your mom often had little pearls of wisdom that she dispensed to her family and friends. What do you remember that she specifically gave to you? What was your message?
Well, I remember she one time told me that your social life is like a garden, and she described, the different types of people in your life, and some of those people, have thorns, and some are, beautiful. Some are annuals, some are perennials. But she always said that that you only have so much room in your social garden, and when somebody's not good for you, to weed them out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I was wondering, what kind of grandmother was she?
I think she was a cool grandmother. My kids just adored her. They had a lot of fun with her, and she wasn't the typical grandmother in the respect to, she had a lot of spunk and a lot of energy. She was tough to keep up with. So I think for grandkids, that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's neat. So I'm sure you miss your mom terribly. What are some of your favorite memories of Doey that bring you comfort when you're really missing her?
Well, I have so many. I think when I was much younger and really struggling academically. I was dyslexic, but at the time nobody knew that. She was awfully supportive when I didn't feel like I was getting much support from my teachers or peers. And I think somebody told me once, I know somebody told me once, they said, when you lose your mom, you also lose your greatest advocate. Mm-hmm. And so I have a lot of fond memories of her being my advocate.
What a tremendous gift for you as you parent your own children, too.
Sure.
Well, Neil, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, Doey Glessner was an amazing, one-of-a-kind woman. Talking about loved ones can be very comforting, even if it sometimes makes us cry. Washington Irving famously said, "There is sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but the power. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief and unspeakable love." I'd like to thank Neil for sharing his wonderful memories of his mother with us, and thank you for tuning in. If you're a hospice family member and would like to remember a loved one on our program, please give us a call at 301-791-6360. See you next time.
Looking through the lens, I see you smiling there. I take a photograph. In my mind you'll never fade. A million winding roads. Who knows where we will go today?